Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to start building out a dfir playlist and malware sample lab. So if you guys are ready for it, let's have some fun. Before so, we're going to have to download several tools and I'm going to walk you guys through doing each and every one. So if you guys are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, and share, and let's jump into it and have some fun. Alright folks, so I have a Windows 10 VM that I just built out, which I'm going to be using all these tools within this. So by now, if you guys need help installing Windows 10, I've installed many operating systems inside of VMware, so you can watch one of those videos. I just didn't want to bore you guys installing another operating system. So I already installed Windows 10, it's a clean install, and I was able to download each and every one of these tools into I made a folder in my documents in malware tools, and we'll get into this shortly. So the first tool is WinSCP. So this is for file transfers and everything like that. So we're gonna go ahead and do that one first. So let's go ahead and double click on that. Once you download it, you can just go ahead and install it. Install for me only because I have the only user on this machine. And let's go ahead and hit typical here. Commander, that should be fine for me. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit install. So this is the first tool. So once you actually have all your downloads downloaded, what we're going to be doing right now, I have it on NAT configuration. So I'll show that shortly so we can see the differences, which you guys should know that by now by all the videos I've done. So that's the first application we need to install. Before I continue, make sure, obviously, if you're getting on the internet, you probably are already, let me go ahead and X out some of these things. So if I right click and go to settings of this VM, we can see my networking adapter is already configured to NAT. This is so we can get on the internet. Okay, so once we are done with all this, we have to install a malware Linux machine, which we'll get into that shortly. It's called Rumnex. So let's go ahead and cancel this for now. So this is the first tool that we're going to be installing. The second one is Pre-Studio, right? So you can, let me go ahead and make this bigger. You can detect file signatures, you can detect hardcore URLs and IP addresses, collect metadata, etc. I was able to download that, so let me go ahead and install that one. So let me go make sure which one is that one. Pre-Studio. So I believe this just is an application that can run. So I want to go ahead and unzip this so we can extract all. I want to extract it right into this folder. That should be fine for me. Double click on here and we can just double click this. We're going to go ahead and hit more info, run anyways because it's malware. All right. So this is it, right? So we're going to go ahead and do a few things as we speak right now. That's the second tool, but let me go ahead and do something really quick. Let me click on start. Let's go to security, or let's just go to settings, not sexy, settings. Okay. And we can go ahead and go click on updates and security. And let's go ahead and Windows Defender. This is a little different. I guess this is a newer version, but let's go ahead and I want to turn off real time. I want to turn off everything just to have everything good to go and use Windows Defender. I want to go ahead and leave this off, right? We're not going to go ahead and turn that on right now. All right. Just wanted to make sure all my stuff is turned off. All right. And the last thing I want to see if I can do is update. Let me go ahead and go for check for updates. And actually, let me go to advanced options here. We're going to go ahead and let's go ahead and give me 1 second. This looks a little different. Choose updates to be delivered. And I want to go ahead and turn this off, right? So I don't want to be any part of automatically downloading those, okay? So let's go ahead and X out of here. So I don't want my machine to update and whack all my tools. Okay, so let's resume where we left off. So here's the Pre-Studio. We downloaded that. So what I want to do while I download them, like here, I want to go ahead and just bring this over here. I want to I'm this little OCD. So I'm just going to put this over here, and all my tools that I want to be using, I'm going to make a little list here. Okay, perfect. So let's come back to our browser. The next tool here is Process Hacker, right? So you can view, manage processes, services, and more with this powerful tool. It's an awesome, awesome tool. I really love it. So I figured I'd throw that in here as well. So let's go ahead and minimize this, and Process Hacker is right here. So let's go ahead and double click on here, hit yes, go ahead and accept the agreement, and let's go ahead and hit next. And and I want to create, I want to go ahead and create it, okay? And all users of blah, blah, create a desktop for all users, which I want to put all users, even though I only have Patrick as a user, but I'm not going to do all that. I don't want to do that, okay? So let's go ahead and hit finish here. So that's the second application, okay? So let's come back here, or the third application, sorry. So next one is Process Monitor, and I actually have them on my, or it's Procmon. So Procmon is another tool that we're going to be utilizing in this playlist, or in this, whatever you want to call it. And let's go ahead and get to Process Monitor. Let's go ahead and extract this. Okay. And we're going to see the same thing, Procmon 64, 64A. Let's go ahead and click on 64, agree, yes. And we have our Process Monitor right there. It's a sysinternals tool. So I want to go ahead and bring this over here as well. Okay, boom, awesome. And if you guys know how to install all this, you can, fast forward. I just want to show you the tools that I'm going to be utilizing, and I figured instead of just installing all of them, we can walk through it together. The next one is ProcDoc. Okay, so here is another one. This feeds data from, so say for example, you have Process Monitor, the Process Monitor tool, this feeds the data into there. So you can just download the Windows version or the Linux version, whatever you're running. I'm running this in Windows. So Procmon, or ProcDoc is right here. And let's go ahead and password right here. Let's go ahead and copy this. Okay. Paste. Okay. And there it goes. All right, so you can just get that password right here. All right, so let's give that a moment to extract. And once that's extracted, then we can go ahead and install this. And let's go ahead and go to Win64 in my case, and just go ahead and double click on the application. And you can see that it's opening up here. We'll give this a moment. And let's go ahead, blah, blah, blah. No, I don't want to, and would you, no. And that's a fine, okay? So obviously we don't have any WinDump. We don't have anything quite yet. We'll do this later. This is just getting this. Do you want to save the session? No, thank you. So I want to go ahead and put this on the desktop as well. Okay, perfect. So what's the next one here on the list? The next one is, I have it over here too. So it's Hex Editor. So Hex Editor, let me see where that is. Hex Editor setup. Go ahead and extract these. Go ahead and hit OK. And we can double click on Hex Editor setup. Hit yes. OK. And let's go ahead and hit next. And actually I do have, just for, just go ahead and hit next, next, next. Create a launch, yeah, that's fine. And on one of my laptops, I actually have all of these and a few other tools on a laptop, on a VM that I do malware analysis. And you can also do this stuff. We'll look at probably some tools online like Joe Sandbox and other analyst tools that you can analyze malware. All right, so that's the next tool here. And the next one here is Wireshark. All right, Wireshark, we can do many things, and on a network, looking at network data, network for forensics and all that stuff. Let's go ahead and hit next. Maybe let me see, make sure, okay, that's all fine for me. I want to create a shortcut just to make sure. Yeah, that's all fine for me. Install npcap. Yep. No, we don't need that. So let's just get Wireshark installed, and we're almost done with the applications. Once this is done, we'll give this a moment. This can take a few seconds. And Nmap or ZenMap, we can agree. That's fine. I'm going to go ahead and install that. And we'll give that a moment. And while that's cooking, the next one is auto runs. So this is for Windows. You can go ahead and download this. Once this is downloaded, you can install it. So let's go ahead and hit next here, finish. First, we'll wait for Wireshark to be done. And it's completed. Okay, so we have that on our desktop. So the next one was auto runs, right? So let's go ahead. Auto runs is right here. Let's go ahead and extract that. Hit extract. My eye's hurting. I don't know why. All right, so let's go ahead and hit auto run 64 just to make sure it's running and we can agree. And here it goes right here. And again, we'll get into that later on when we look at some fun stuff. And we'll bring that to the desktop so we have that handy. All right, so the next one here is Fiddler, right? So Fiddler is another tool that we can tinker with. So let's go ahead and install this one. And where is that? Right here. And we hit OK and run as Patrick. That's fine because this is the only user that I want to have on this VM. Hopefully I don't install any other ones later and I screw up myself, but it's fine. I'm only going to use Patrick. So we're not going to go ahead and run this right now. And don't worry, I'm going quickly on this. If you guys want to obviously read up on the tools, you can. I'm not going to demonstrate every single tool in this video. I'm just getting the lab set up so I don't get comments, oh, you're not explaining what these tools are. Obviously, you can see a little bit of what the tool is doing, and we'll get more into it later on, right? So now the next part of this video is getting Rumnex VM installed. So what is this tool? This is an actual VM that you can analyze malware and all that stuff, okay? So at this point, this VM is golden, right? I don't need anything else installed, so I can go ahead and close out this. Let's go ahead and close that out. And now I have all my tools installed that I need right here, right? The next thing, I want to go ahead and do a quick IP config. So let me open up CMD, make this bigger. Can I just make this? No? Oh man. Let's go ahead and go to properties, font, let's do 24. That's fine, right? Looks a little bigger. So if I do an IP config, we can see my IP address is 192.168.100.207 in my case. This is natted. So I can obviously go out to Google, ping Google, right? I can ping Google and all that stuff, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a snapshot of this. So we can go ahead and hit, if you're using VMware, I'm using VMware Workstation Pro, so hopefully you guys are too. And if you're not, you can use VirtualBox, whatever your hypervisor is. And once your once your VM is all set up, I always take a snapshot. It's best practice. Let's take a snapshot, and I'm going to put Windows 10 clean, and then after malware apps installed. Okay, that's fine for me. Let's go ahead and take a snapshot, right? So once the snapshot is done, I want to go ahead and change the network configuration. So while this is cooking, we can come over here to Workstation. We can go to View and Edit, and go to Virtual Network Editor, right? So let this cook, let this open up. It'll take a second. And we can see here host only. My host only IP addresses are, it says really, really small. I'll zoom it in. 192.168.99.0. That's the subnet, right? So what I want to do now is cancel that. Make sure this is good to go. Let's go to Snapshot Manager. And we can see our snapshot right here, okay? So what I want to do now is go to Settings on my VM, go to Network, and I want to do host only. The reason we want to do host only, anytime you're messing with malware samples or anything with malware, you want to have this sandboxed. That's just, best practice. I wouldn't put NAT and have malware floating on the internet. That is no bueno. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit OK here. This is going to go offline, and let's go ahead and open up Command Prompt again. Okay, so now we can do an IP config. and we should get something on the 99 network, which we do, right? So now we'll let this cook. We'll let this sit here, hang out, chill. Next thing we're going to do is file. We're going to open up a new virtual machine. So I downloaded the OVA, which I did it here locally on my... So here, this is my local machine now. When you go, you can go to SourceForge and you can just download it right here. Download the OVA, and then the OVA will look like this. 1 second, let me get to it. Documents, and sorry, I wasn't. Here we go. All right, so let me pull this over here, and we can see this OVA is right here in my dfir malware lab, right? So we'll get to that in a second. So let's open up my VMware again. All right, we can come back here, and now we're going to go ahead and install the next piece. So we can go to File, or if you guys are looking at it like this, you can go to File, Open, and in my case, mine is on my documents. Mine are in my dfir malware lab, and then here's my OVA. Okay, let's go ahead and open that. And my VMware name, I want to just name it Rumnex-VM, and I want to leave it right where it doesn't matter. I want to import it right where it is. Okay, that's at least for me right now. Because after these videos, normally what I do after I'm done with my whole video series or whatever I'm doing, I just whack it anyway, so it doesn't just hang out on my drive and collect dust. But you know, because as you see on the left-hand side here, I have a lot of VMs, and the ones I actually use on a daily, like, you know, my Blue Team, my OSINT stuff, my PMPT labs. Hopefully I'm taking my PMPT here shortly. And then just other stuff that I use to tinker around with you know, things offline, right? So while this is imported, I'm going to take a drink of water, because water is good. Stay hydrated. And if you guys see, I actually try to get some sun and laid out thinking I was Tanny Magoo. And I think I stayed out too long, and now I look like another lobster, like the other videos and one of those back in the day. All right, so I want to go ahead and bring this up to my dfir. And I want to, because I have the memory, so I want to go ahead and just put 8 gigs. And for this, I want to go ahead and change this adapter. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and update it and all that stuff. So let's go ahead and leave it as is. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and power this baby on. We'll make this full screen just to make it look pretty. We'll give that a moment. And actually, just so while this is cooking, let me open up this again. And the username and password, let me just go like this, come over here, come over to download. And once you get back here to the documentation, if you come down a little bit, you download, you can, you know, verify your hash and all that stuff. You import the OVA, step 3, and this is going to show you which ones to conversion or VMware Workstation. That's what we're using. And then, you know, most people use 4 gigs and 60 gig drives, blah, blah, blah. Excuse me, blah, blah, blah. So start the VM. And once it actually is set up, the username is Rumnex, and the password is malware. This is what I wanted to showcase. Make sure you copy this, paste it somewhere safe so you can remember, and then consider special hypervisor requirements, so VirtualBox. Check out this and all the other cool things that you would need in order to run different hypervisors, right? So we're just using VMware Workstation, so there's Hyper-V, there's cloud solutions such as AWS, QM or QNUM, however you say that, KVM, Proxmox, etc. But I'm just using VMware, so we're good. All right, so here we go. Let's do an ls here. All right, so let me go ahead and let me make this bigger real quick. And let me do display settings just so we can make this a little bigger. Well, that doesn't really revert changes. All right, that's fine. Let's see, appearance, dark mode. All right, so we can come up here to activities. We can see the terminal. See if I can just, oh my God, I can't just make this bigger. Let's see. There we go. 1 second, let me just, all right. So here we go. So now if I do an if config, we can see I'm on the 100 network. So I can ping out to google.com. I can spell, right? So it's all working. So let's come back over to the settings over here. So if we come all the way up, we can see here the easiest way to get it upgraded. We can right click here, run the upgrade commands, open up in a new terminal or open up in a new browser, sorry. And you can just keep the distro up to date. You can run ls release. So let's go ahead and see what release it is. So let's copy this. Hopefully it pastes. All right. And then we can see that, let me see. Let me make this a little bigger. I want to make it actually a little bigger because even for me, it's a little small. All right, that should be good. All right, so here we go. So we're running Ubuntu 20.4, 20.04. All right, so let's come back over here. We can see upgrading and so on and so forth. So we can run upgrade and then run update. And then if you have any issues, you can go ahead and sudo apt update, apt auto remove, fix broken install. Okay, so I want to go ahead and do that just so we're up to date. So I want to go ahead and run that. Let's come back up over here, paste that, and we'll let that cook, right? So when this is done, we'll do the upgrade. And then what we're going to do is take a snapshot of this VM, and then after the fact, we're going to go ahead and put it on host only, right? Because remember, host only, so we can communicate with only our machines within our environment, right? So we'll let that cook, and we'll just resume once this is done, because I'm not sure how long it's going to take, so hang tight. All right, folks, so that took, I don't even know, 15 minutes or something? I don't know. It took a while. So now we can see it's completely upgraded, 888. So please reboot to make sure everything takes effect. So let's go ahead and reboot. All right, so it's an Ubuntu box. So you just type in reboot right there in the command line and it will reboot. And the next thing we're going to do is update it just to make sure everything is good to go. And once that's done, we'll take a snapshot. We'll put it into host only mode. We'll get the Windows side configured, make sure both of them are communicating, and then that's where we will stop for today. Okay? All right, so now let's go ahead and make this bigger. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna do it 3 times. All right, so now let's go ahead and hit the up arrow and just do update. Hopefully it doesn't take as long. Hopefully it's pretty quick. And we'll let this do its thing, right? Let's see. Incorrect, blah, blah, blah. Installing, configuring. Salt stack properly. All right, so we'll let this cook. Let's just come over to our Windows machine. Let's go ahead and X out some of these because I don't need all of these up here. All right, so let's come back to our Windows 10 machine. And what I want to do, whoops. Oh, crap. What happened? Let me see. I don't know. Maybe it just... All right, that was weird. All right, let's go ahead and make this full screen again. Hopefully I didn't blow it up. All right, so let's make this bigger. All right, so now what I want to do is come over. On the bottom, my big head, or you can see a little bit. I want to right click on the network and sharing. And right here we have an Ethernet connection. Let's click on the Ethernet connection. And if we click on details, you're going to see the same IP address. And what we're going to do is statically assign this. But I want to show you something. What we're going to do is hit properties. We can do IPv4 properties. Use the following IP. I want to just stick it to the same one. So in my case, it's 192.168.99.129. And let's go ahead and hit tab. And the gateway is going to point to the Linux machine, right? And for DNS. So just so we are communicating, everything is resolving within. So we'll give this a moment to cook on the other side. And let's go ahead and X out of here. Let's go to the Rumnex or Rumnex or whatever. So this is going to update. So we'll let this do its thing and we'll resume once this is done. Okay, so that was pretty quick, less than 2 minutes. So now we are all up to date here. So now let's go ahead and do an if config. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take a little snapshot of this. Snapshot. And we're going to put after upgrade and update. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy that and just take a snapshot. So once that snapshot is finished, we can come, when it come up here, it should probably be done by now. It's not. Okay, so now we can go to settings and we're going to go ahead and go to network adapter and we're going to do host only. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit OK. And we'll go ahead and just reboot. I just want to reboot just to make sure everything is good. So I'm going to go ahead and reboot. It shouldn't take too long. And once this is done, we should get on that 192.168.99 network, in my case, which is my host only network. So we'll give that a moment to boot up and hopefully it boots up pretty quickly. Shouldn't take that long. All right. So that was pretty quick. So now if we just go ahead and zoom this in, because I'm blind, zoom this in again, and zoom this in once more, maybe one more. I don't know, maybe it just looks small on my other screen. Now if we do if config really quick, now we're on the 199 network, or 99 network, excuse me. So we are at 130. Okay, so now we can come over here and we're going to point this to 130. So 192.168.99.130. And my DNS is 192.168.99.130 in my case. Remember, this is only a sandbox environment. So, and now we're going to go ahead and ping 192.168. Oh, before we do that, let's do an IP config really quick. And we can see 130. So I'm just going to cheat. And let me do CLS. So now I want to go ahead and ping. Now we can ping that way, right? You can see that. So now let's go ahead and do an IP config again. And we're going to see if we can ping. See if I can copy this. 129 from here now. Ping. Let's go ahead and paste. Yep. And it's not. Okay, that's fine. Let's go see if it's the firewall that turned itself back on. Let's go ahead and make sure. Firewall. We can go ahead and make this bigger. Firewall properties. And let's go ahead, private, on. We're going to turn all this off. 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 Apply. And then IPsec. This is all good. All right, so now let's go ahead and see if we can go back here. And now it's pinging. Just make sure the firewall is turned off because that can be a pain in the butt and get you stuck. So that's pretty much setting up the lab. In the next video, we'll get into some fun stuff. I'm not gonna share it yet because I have 3 ideas, and just hang tight and wait for the next one. If you guys find this informative, please like, subscribe, and share. Leave any comments in the comments below, and I'll put all the links in the description. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one.